topic is breaking up with addiction, why you keep going back to a toxic partner. So my name is Ashley Bloxham. I'm a therapist. I specialise in childhood and trauma, but I'm also an addictions counsellor. I've overcame addiction. I think that's the thing that qualifies as the most to talk about addiction online. But I've also studied it right the way up to PhD level. And I know the pains of having a loved one who's struggling in addiction as well, and all of that which goes with that. So I feel like I'm the right person to be talking about it. So today's topic, to start off before we get into the Q&A, is addiction recovery is like breaking up with a toxic ex. And I'm going to talk about the psychology behind this and the neuroscience. So when we break up with addiction, when we decide to leave addiction, it is really like getting rid of that toxic ex. You're in a toxic relationship, you know that they're really shit for you, you know that they're affecting you, but you don't want to leave them. And Helen Fisher did this research where what she found is that the same reward circuits in the brain, so the same things which go on in the brain when we're in attachment to like a romantic partner or caregiver, gets lit up when we're taking cocaine and crack cocaine and heroin, I think she studied. So basically, we're in a relationship with this toxic partner and we want to leave. So if I had somebody come to me in counselling, or a friend, I'm going to even just do a friend, in the same way as I'm in this relationship with someone toxic, I know the relationship is shit for us, what am I going to do? Well, first of all, I would ask you the question, why do you not love yourself enough to leave the relationship? Because if we are staying in a relationship with something that isn't good for us, there is a part of us that we do not love enough to say we deserve better. So I would go on a self-love journey. Forget the ex for now, park the ex, go on a self-love journey, because you'll start to love yourself so much that you will leave the toxic ex. And I'm not talking about, so you're not ex-partner, you leave the toxic partner because you love yourself too much to be in the relationship. And I'm talking about the addiction. The other thing I'll say as well is, I remember when I was younger, I had this partner I was seeing who I really didn't want to be in a relationship with. It was shit. It was a toxic partner. And I remember telling my mum, and she said to us, she said, when you're in a relationship with somebody who's shit for you, just keep letting them be shit and take note, and eventually they'll get so shit that you want to leave. Now, this in addiction is what we call rock bottom. But if you start to consciously do that, you can avoid going to the rock bottom. So what you can do whilst on your self-love journey is you can also say to yourself, I hate this. Why do I hate this? What is shit about this? And consciously reflect on it the next day, because it's going to start to tell you that this relationship with this addiction is not healthy. It needs to go. Okay, let's see what other people are saying. Elijah's saying, I never want to break up with her. Your toxic partner. What's your toxic partner? Yeah, but if you don't want to break up with them, then it's all right. Maybe you're toxic. I'm joking, Elijah. But realistically, I don't know if you're being sarcastic, but if you don't want to break up with it, keep doing it. Anyways, Fabio, oh my God, I could not read your name. Fabio, hey, good morning. Hello, how are you doing, Fabio? Elijah, well, that's never happening to me. Well, it's messing my posture, I think. What's messing your posture, Elijah? I'm not picking up what you're putting down today. So another way, so if we're thinking about this idea that when we have a toxic, so the relationship with an partner, I keep saying ex. When we have a relationship with a partner and we're looking at the neuroscience, that it's the same as when we have a relationship with our addiction. It's the same pathways and neurochemicals which are getting released in addiction and a relationship. What we can start to do is apply the same things that we do to a relationship to the addiction. So first of all, one of the best things you can do in a relationship is go no contact. So go no contact with the addiction. That means try and remove any access to that person. You don't really want to have that person cropping up in your newsfeed all the time. So think of it like that. Think, this addiction, I can't have dealers on my phone messaging us. Block them, delete them. Try and make access to triggers as minimal as possible. We can't avoid triggers, but we want to try and protect ourselves from them. Fact check this. This? Is there more to this? Is there a that? I don't know. Porn and ADHD meds is true love and toxic. ADHD meds, I mean, realistically, if it helps you, it's medication. But I found when I was on ADHD meds, it was just the same as drugs. Like, I was just as bloody, like, raring for them as I was anything else. It's just because they were prescribed. Am I married, Siren? No, I am not married. I'd like to be married one day, but I'm not. Yes, those high cheekbones are cute, thank you. I remember when I was a kid, loads of people used to say that was about my cheekbones. Like I'm talking when I was really, really little. I think it's muscles off, I don't think it's even cheekbones, I think it's just muscles off smiling so much. Right, DSCNC, isn't avoiding triggers keeping one from actually dealing with the problem, then thinking about long-term sobriety and integration? Yeah, but if you think of it like, again, we're going to talk about, like, apply it to we've got out of a relationship. So if you see that ex, like, the day after, 3 days after, a week after, you're more inclined to forget that they're toxic and get back with them than if you go away, do loads of self-healing, do work on yourself, get new hobbies and interests, put yourself out there, find maybe new people to date. If you then meet the partner, the ex, then you're less likely to get back with him. So it's not about, look, we can't avoid triggers forever, but it's about putting some space between you and the trigger so you can heal. So for me, what I did is I tried to remove as many triggers as possible and then intentionally introduce them down the line when I felt like I was ready. So I had, for instance, a particular friend which I knew was a trigger, and I said, I can't see you for a few weeks. Like, I can talk to you on the phone, but I can't spend time with you because I know as soon as I see you, I'm going to want to get wrecked. I also knew that I couldn't have alcohol because I knew if I drink alcohol now, I'm more likely to relapse. That's going to be a trigger. So I had to start introducing them safely down the line, intentionally. But realistically, you want to get rid of everything in the beginning because your brain's going to be healing. In DSCNC, I get what you're saying, but in the first 3 weeks, your dopamine receptors are going to be fucked. So you need at least that time for your brain to start recalibrating. And I would say 3 months is a good amount of time to, like, really just focus on loving yourself, healing, and anything but the addiction. Right, let's see what other people are saying. Do you believe in Christ? I don't believe in Christ. My grandpa's a vicar. I'm spiritual. I just kind of think that we're not supposed to know because nothing makes full sense to us. I think there's something, I don't know what, but I have a lot of respect for Christianity. No, she has a pinky promise, Bobby. I have a pinky promise? What's my pinky promise for? I haven't done a pinky promise in a long, long time, that's for sure. So I can't remember them. Right, Michael is saying, hi, beautiful, hello. Safi is saying, she is my wife, yeah, me and Safi. Or Saf, I don't even know how you say, Safe, I don't even know how to say your name, but it's so hard reading these names, especially because I'm fucking dyslexic. Right, dog, you have a nice voice, thank you. You got a West Virginia accent. Well, no, I've got a Geordie accent. It's northeast in England. Perma, could you say feeling cute might delete later? I don't know. Would be pretty fun. Feeling cute might delete later. I don't know. I don't know why I'm saying that, but why not? Right, DSCN. I'm speaking in terms of addiction in general. I'm 7 years sober from drugs and alcohol, so I'm seeing where this lines up with the trans theoretical model of the stages of change. Is the stages of change just the wheel of change that you're talking about, DSCNC? I think that even if that is what you're talking about, any stage of change that we go through, because we're talking about stages of change, I don't know what stages of change you're talking about, but any stage of change that we go through will have to sit within a certain stage. So, you know, like if we're thinking about grief, the cycle of grief, we're going to sit in denial for a little bit. Then we're going to sit in anger for a bit. And we might flip between the different stages, but it's okay to be within a stage. And I think in that first stage, it's almost like thinking of it like pruning a tree. You want to strip everything back and then tend to it so it can grow out better and bigger and stronger. So I think in early stages of recovery, it's really about stripping back to bare basics and thinking about, okay, who do I want to be? Like, where am I not loving myself? Like, it's an inside job. We want to go internal. Like, how can I support myself the best? Like, how can I strip back down to, like, really caring for myself, like, basic needs? And then slowly but surely, you'll start to grow. But you'll grow bigger, better, stronger. And this is where you can introduce triggers. And some triggers don't introduce. You know, when we get to a place, okay, I've done a significant amount of healing, I've licked my wounds, because this is licking your wounds phase I'm talking about in addiction. I've licked my wounds, then I can decide what am I going to allow in my life, because to be quite frank, certain triggers weren't ever allowed back in my life because I'd made the mistake of introducing certain triggers, and by certain triggers, I mean people. They are often the worst triggers, walking, talking triggers. Certain people, I just ended up relapsing. So I had to make the decision, those triggers have to stay away. So yeah. Cody, how are you doing, Cody? I am good, thank you. I'm doing really well. Right, where have I gone? I feel like... yeah, but DSCNC, you're 7 years sober. What's your top tip for everyone? And can you explain these this trans theoretical model of stages of change for people in a way that might be helpful, maybe? Mohammed, hey, gorgeous, how you doing? Cyan is saying, do you believe in... I think I've read that, or I don't know if you said it twice. You are my wife, we are married, have you forgotten? It must have been that years of drug abuse. Touch of amnesia. Johnny, are you from the valleys? No, I'm not from the valleys. That was a really bad valleys accent. You have beautiful eyes, thank you. Yeah, focus on loving yourself. Yeah, you have to. And look, the reason why that is so important, if we've got any kind of situation going on, like whether that's mental health, you know, I've had to deal with bipolar, ADHD, being a single parent. I know that's not a diagnosable thing, but fucking hell, it's hard. Like addiction recovery, whatever it is, you got to put your... And we start talking at the beginning, like breakups, like breaking up from somebody else in a 10-year relationship with. Whatever it is that you've got to deal with, like... Self-love is at the root of it, and we should just constantly be trying to work on that. And if you're not ready to get rid of the addiction right now, because I have this all the time, people who are like, I'm not quite ready, or I feel like I'm failing, that's okay. That can be a goal, but think about it like you might want to, I don't know, like for me, I want to be a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. That's my goal that I've got, but I'm not going to just be able to be a blue belt because I've decided. I've got to do all the steps. I've got to learn, I've got to try hard, and I've got to learn the fundamentals and think about self-love as the fundamentals to get you to where you need to be. And then even when you remove the addiction recovery, get to the big blue belt, keep going, go for the purple belt. Like, keep making life better and better. But yeah, self-love, it sounds so wishy-washy and lame, but that is the key to recovery. It really is. Successful recovery. Tipsy saying, should I reach back out to my ex? She has my cats and I haven't seen them since August. Oh, I'm not answering questions like that. I ain't here to tell you what to do, Tipsy. A good thing to think about though is if a friend, or if you've got kids, that's a more powerful way to do the exercise, or like young siblings. But if you've got a friend came here and knows what you know about your ex relationship, would they say reach out to the ex to get the cats? I mean, personally, I just sacrifice whatever's with the ex stays with the ex, because I can't be asked to let the ex re-enter my life. But that's me, and I'm not talking about cats. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. As I ran psychology as evidence of truth. Yeah, I mean it is. It's, you know, it's always changing and there's different models of truth. But I always think, like, if we're gonna, like, the best thing in an addiction recovery, I keep saying the best thing, one of the good things in addiction recovery to do is learn about the psychology of addiction, the neuroscience of addiction, the biology of addiction, because it's all based in evidence and it will help you and support you in your recovery. NJ, I'm a non-believer. I believe in something. I don't believe in one particular... I mean, my grandpa was so fucking intelligent and he devoted his life to, like, God. And I always think there's probably a really intelligent Hindu, I don't know what you call Hindu, somebody who practices Hindu, who, I don't know, preaches it or whatever. And I just think, like, what makes that person right and this person right? It just, like, it doesn't make sense that there's, like, so many gods. So I just think there's something, I believe in that. I don't know what. I just call it the big U, the universe. Well, I just keep going then, demo. Keep going with what? Hotel corner, we are here and no one knows why or how. Yeah. Look, even if you just... So when we look at research of addiction and religion, it's the same pathways in our brain which light up. So it's the same regions. So addiction and faith, addiction recovery and faith can be really helpful. But just the same way as prayer, so it's prayer in particular, just the same way as prayer helps with addiction recovery, so does gratitude. So, like, even if you just sit there and marvel at the fact that I am a human being who, what are the fucking chances that a sperm hit an egg, that I was born out of all of the chances in the world, like evolution, it's just mental. And this is one life I get to live, like, let's fucking maximize it. And also, like, just try and learn to love humanity again as well. A lot of people don't like humanity, so try and look for the good in humans, the good in ourselves, the good in others, and that will also do the same thing as faith and recovery. Howdy, fire breather. Zyron, shame cause I am told to not embrace unbelievers. Not embrace unbelievers? Shame cause? I don't know, but shame is really fucking bad for the body. I'd say avoid shame. Give self grace, get rid of shame. Shame, honestly, is it's poisonous. It's absolutely poisonous. If that is another thing in addiction recovery, try to break down shame. And if you want to try and break down shame, read the book Hungry Ghost by Gabor Mate. Look into why addiction occurs, and that'll help you break down shame. Or watch Johan Hari's TED Talks on everything we know about addiction is wrong. Because shame really keeps you stuck in addiction. DSCNC, I'm 7 years sober and study the TTM, so I disagree with your assessment. The thing is, DSC, like, there's going to be different models. Like, I've studied counselling, I've done 2 degrees in counselling, and there are so many different models of therapy. And the reason why there's so many different modalities of counselling is because not one shoe fits all. And we have to be real about this. Like, I would be a very shitty practitioner if I was going to go in, so I'm predominantly trained in person-centered therapy. If I was going to go in and say person-centered therapy is the only way that somebody's going to heal their mental health, I would be doing people a really big disservice. what my job as a practitioner would to be say, okay, for some people, person-centered therapy works. For some people, they need CBT. Other people need psychodynamic. So like, I'm not going to sit here and say your way is wrong, but I would say that it would be helpful to think about that, well, maybe I'm not right, she's not right, I'm not wrong, she's not wrong, because all different people need help and support. And the thing with mental health is, an addiction recovery, is it's less about me the practitioner and you the practitioner who's right and wrong. It's about, okay, there's 1 in 10 people are addicted, let's just get let them find what works for them. So that's what I would say back to that DSC. I just would hate for you to fall in the trap of me and you getting into a debate about who's right or wrong. It's like the goal is addiction recovery. So like, there's space for everyone. Fire breather. Scheduled to hook up with my ex this coming Sunday. She left me 2 months ago. Should I do this or nah? Fire breather, I don't want to sit there and tell you what to do, because ultimately you know you. But you can explore this question. AI is a really good place, as long as you're being honest with the questions you're putting out. But what I would say is, if someone was coming to us about a relationship advice as a counsellor, what we would be looking at is needs, wants, expectations. So you can write this down as an exercise. What do you need from a relationship? So like, this is non-negotiable. What do you want from a partner? And what do you expect from a partner? And write all of these down. Now, needs are non-negotiable. These are our deal breakers. So for me, my need is I need to be respected and I need consistency. So if respect and consistency isn't there, it's non-negotiable. Deal breaker, goodbye. See you later. Please be over there. But once I might want my partner to... I might want my partner to be spiritual, because I'm spiritual. So I might expect my partner to, I don't know, I can't think of an expectation I have. I don't have any expectations. But there might be something that you expect. I expect my partner to give us words of affirmation all the time, because that's my love language. Now, your wants and your expectations, they're negotiable. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe we can talk about that, but realistically, I can give myself words of affirmation. So write down needs, wants, expectations. If your ex is not meeting your needs, I would say that's never going to work. And that's up to you to be honest about. And also the other question to ask yourself is, if I really, really fucking loved myself, would I be in this relationship? Would a future version of me be grateful that I went and got back with that ex? So there's some questions to explore, and it's up to you, fire breather. You know you best. You are the expert in you, and I wouldn't outsource it to friends, family, or person on the internet. But good luck. She has an Irish accent. Get it right. NJ, I'm fucking Geordie. I don't know if you've been sarcastic or not. Only through Christ the mind can be renewed. Zyra, well, I mean, I don't believe in Christ, and I think I've got a pretty fucking renewed mind. I mean, it's a bit dotty at times, a bit scatty and dotty, but it's definitely renewed. Like, I feel like each year I'm different to the last person, so each of their own. DSCNC, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I've got a master's in addiction. Buzz off, will you? We've had a conversation. I'm not responding to you anymore. Can't be arsed. I'm due on my period. Can't be arsed with that nonsense today. Just go and do your own channel, please. Right, rejection of truth prevents true change. Yeah, but the thing is, there's no such one truth, Zyran. We can all make educated guesses. And I think anybody, Zyran, if we're going to sit there and say, I know best, that is not intelligence. Because look at yourself, right? So even with Christ, what you know now, you didn't know a month ago. So thought I knew about dopamine, which I've learned, like the interplay between dopamine and addiction. I've learned it so much through many different courses I've done. I learned about a month ago, I had been getting it wrong. It was an outdated view of dopamine, which has been taught as pop science. So if you are never open to the fact that I may be wrong, that there's still more to learn, you're going to cap yourself. Like, we have to be realistic that a human being cannot know everything, because there wouldn't be competing models of religion, science. So I think it's very narrow-minded to sit there and say rejection of truth. Like, what is truth? Because it's constantly developing. Like, nobody knows truth. That's why you have different modalities of science and scientists constantly competing. So yeah, I think I get what you're saying, but you know, I think we need to not go around telling people they're wrong. Just stay in your own lane, guys. Right, pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action. Yeah, so you're just talking about the wheel of change. DSCNC. That's what I said. You're talking about the wheel of change and addiction. Well, that's standard. Like that's just like basic addiction. Addiction. That's basic addiction. Like something you learn about addiction. But what I'm talking about is like what research talks about it. So like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but what you're focusing on, DSNC, is you're focusing on tools and techniques for addiction, like the wheel of change. I'm not doing that. So what I'm focusing on here, and people who come to my channel will know, is I'm focusing on why addiction happens and what we need to do to cure addiction. So you're talking about the wheel of change. Now, you're going to keep going through that wheel of change. The thing is, you're going to keep going through that wheel of change if you're only focusing on removing the addiction. And this is why there's a wheel of change. And if you look at rehab statistics of people who come out of rehab, up to 85% of them relapse in the first year. This is why we have a wheel of addiction change. People are constantly going through it. Now, what I'm talking about is research-based, evidence-based approach to don't just remove the addiction, like you're removing the crutch, build up stability. So build up a new crutch, which is self-love, which is removing yourself from triggers enough so that you can build up a relationship with yourself, you can build up resilience, you can work on regulating your nervous system and regulating your emotions so that you're not having to cycle through the wheel of change. Do you get what I'm saying, DSC? Like, I think one of the things that I failed at as an addictions therapist is I was focusing on the techniques. I was focusing on do a 5-minute rule. Like, if we're going to look about the wheel of addiction change, you're on about motivational and interviewing. Let's get them from preconception and contemplation to preparation by using motivational and interviewing. That's all well and good. You can use all the tips and the tricks in the world to get off addiction. If you remove something that is self-medicating, the root, and you don't deal with the root cause of what they are self-medicating with the addiction, they're going to relapse. And I was that person who kept relapsing. And it's because I didn't love myself enough. I didn't know how to regulate my nervous system. So I think you need to broaden your horizon, DSCN. Instead of saying that I'm wrong, you could learn something from us. Or don't, I'm here to help people in addiction recovery. So, right, just a man chimp. Hello, how are you doing? Nice to see you again. My biggest issue is I can care for myself, but I'm skinned, so struggling. But when I work full time as a dev, I can't handle it and I go downhill, catch 22. Yeah, that is, yeah, so we're talking about something which is really tangible. It's a bit of a trigger, isn't it? And I really get that, because not with addiction recovery as in for when I had addiction to ketamine, but my mental health recovery, and it's fighting between like finances and burning out, because that's essentially what it is. If we're talking about addiction as a form of self-medication, if you're doing something which is pushing you to max capacity and burning out, then you're going to turn to the addiction recovery. What I don't want to do Oh, where's Josie? Oh, you've just disappeared. Me comments. There must be too many comments for us to get back to it. I can't remember your name. Whoever's comment that what that was. What I don't want to do is sit here and try and hash this out with one comment on YouTube. If you go to my website, schoolofaddiction.co.uk, I can give you a free one-to-one, and we can try and get a game plan on to tackle this situation for you, because we're talking about a really serious trigger here. So go to my website and I'll send you my Calendly link and we'll can sort this out together. But yeah, that makes complete sense, because you're walking smack bang into a trigger, but if you remove it, then the trigger is financial insecurity, and that's between a rock and a hard place. So we need to try and get you out of that rock and hard place. Right, by the way, I've got a lot of people on today. If you could give us a subscribe, that's a really free way to help me channel, to help us get to the people that need us. If you could do that, or give us a like, that would be really helpful. But anyways, I'm going to go down the bottom and see. John is saying life is a trigger, big time. It is. And in early stages recovery, you just have to fart and you're triggering yourself. It is. There's some triggers worse than others. And I would say, look, life is a trigger, and it's going to feel like a trigger. If your nervous system is fucked with a capital F, life is gonna feel like a huge trigger. So one thing in addiction recovery, which is really important, is to regulate your nervous system. So if you think about it, like if you are constantly in fight or flight, and you can test how regulated your nervous system is by just doing a quick body scan. Is your jaw tense? Are your shoulders relaxed? Is your posture hunched over? These are all signs of a dysregulated nervous system. And if you think about it, if your nervous system is dysregulated, you're starting here. You get a trigger, you're going to go up here, and this is where relapse is. But if you learn to regulate your nervous system and bring it down, when you deal with a trigger, you're going to spike up. It's going to be shit. I'm not going to pretend it's not, but then it's going to come back down and it's going to be more manageable. If your baseline is here and you have a trigger, you're coming up here. And this is where cravings feel like I can't describe. And I've got to say, like the cravings I dealt with when I was coming off drug addiction were a lot less manageable, because I didn't have a hold on my nervous system as much as I do now, is the cravings I've been dealing with the last week and a half with quitting nicotine. And when I quit nicotine a year ago, the cravings were horrendous. So honestly, regulating your nervous system will allow you to deal with triggers a bit better. Has anyone got any tips? Anyone who's in recovery for triggers, since we're talking about it? Norse Code is saying, when you get a trigger, you will get angry and start shouting out whatever it is that pissed you off. You won't decide to go and buy drugs right afterwards. What a load of crap. What do you mean? You won't decide to go and buy drugs right after. I don't know what you mean by that. Can you reword that? I don't know if it's my dyslexia or your typing, but I'm not picking up what you're putting down there. Right, Dark Star. I'm addicted to opiates. I'm scared to go to the NHS for my treatment because I don't want it on my record. I've tried to come off it cold turkey, but it's too painful. Dark Star, do you want to have a one-to-one? Go to my website, schoolofaddiction.co.uk. It will be confidential. The only way it's not confidential is if there's a risk of harm to somebody else, or you're a terrorist. But go to my website and I can hash this out with you. And also, I've got two people who've overcame heroin addiction who can support you as well and can do some, again, free work with you. But yeah, I get that. That was one of my problems. I was so scared because I gave up my addiction, like drug addiction, when I was in early stages of when I was pregnant, and I relapsed when I was pregnant. And then I gave up the day I gave birth, relapsed when he was a few months old, and then again. So I know what that feels like, to be scared to reach out for services. It's fucking horrible. But we need a plan of action. So go to my website, we'll hash it out. Oh, my Pookie, is weed considered an addiction? So there's different models of addiction. How do you classify what is addiction? It's all very subjective. The model that I like to go by, that fits most with my training is, addiction is a problem that you want to stop, that you can't stop. So, for instance, there's a lot of people who I know who smoke weed, used to be have a heroin addiction, crack addiction, or alcohol addiction. They now smoke weed, and it has saved their life. And they shame themselves for it, but they're like, no, this saved my life. So that wouldn't be classed as an addiction because it's not a problem. It's been a saving grace. They don't want to stop it, therefore they can't stop it. It's irrelevant. So it's not about the specific thing, it's about the subjective experience. That's my stance on it. Nelson, are you single? I am, but I am not coming on here to, I mean, let's be real. We've got somebody called Shashak Panth 5581. I mean, that's not something I'm gonna think, oh, that's attractive. I'd like use a bunch of letters and numbers, so I ain't here to pick up partners. But yeah, I am single. Just need to make sure that's clear. Right. Joey Gonzala, I'm addicted to love. Look, that's a very real thing. Especially the early stages, or very up and down. We can be addicted to the hot and cold. Again, like I said in the beginning, self-love. If you're addicted to love, self-love will save you a lot of trouble, because if you love yourself, you are not going to be putting yourself in the addictive love cycles that we're staying. So it's that hot and cold that's treating you like shit 1 minute, all over you the next minute. Like, that no longer becomes attractive and addictive. It doesn't have that same hold on you if you work on self-love. And it's the same with addiction. You know, you no longer get attracted to being under the influence. It's no longer attractive to you. You're like, no, actually, I'm more attracted to myself. And also, when you love yourself, you build up an amazing life. You do things that you love. You have people in your life who you love. So again, I'm more attracted to this amazing life, and I'm more attracted to myself than I am the shitty partners who feel addictive, or the addiction, which is obviously addictive. So yeah. RA is saying, I've got a dilemma. I'm addicted to sex, just got married, but my past exes who don't know I'm married want to meet for a shag. I've been holding back for a while, but it's so hard. So is this like a genuine sex addiction we're talking about? Again, this is a very complex situation we're talking about. So what I don't want to do on this channel is give you a snippet of like a pass away comment, which is going to end up derailing your marriage, or do you know what I mean, or not be right for you. It's really important I'm ethical on this channel, but I am a therapist, so if you want to have a free one-to-one, we can hash this out. And I've worked a lot with sex addiction, so it's my forte. So if you want to go to my website, schoolofaddiction.co.uk, absolutely do. But you look, sex addiction's a really hard thing to deal with, if that's what you're talking about. But also marriage is really difficult as well. So I ain't commenting online about this, but I'm happy to do a one-to-one. John is saying, hash this out, Is that why we're laughing at that? Somebody's saying, stop shagging. I mean, it's it's like a biological thing. I mean, evolution is driving towards it. I'm not saying everyone does it, but it's a bit like, just stop eating. Oh, well, now you said stop eating, I'll just go do that. Not. But anyways, right, Ben, I love everything in this world. One thing I'm not with. I love everything in this world. One thing I'm not with. What do you mean, Ben? Am I reading that wrong? Are you saying it wrong, or is it a bit of both? who's just said that somebody said they're subscribed? Oh, you've just disappeared. Matika is saying subscribe. Thank you. Anyone? Yeah, if anyone could subscribe, it's just, I help everybody. Everything I'm doing is free. I help people out for free. If you could subscribe, that is a really great way to, one, get us to the people who need us, but also ideally I get paid off YouTube so I can support people for free. So that would be helpful. But if not, it doesn't matter. Dan saying they've subbed. King saying he's subbed. Thank you. I don't say me subs, so anybody who has subbed, thank you. Just to me channel, Alessa, you don't have to though. Chris is saying get a proper job. I'm a therapist, but I am a therapist, but I'm also a single mom. And I have bipolar, and similar to the person who was speaking before about saying that one of the struggles is working, what I was finding is when I became a single mom, running private practice, like addiction, I was running addiction groups, private practice, trying to be a single mom with bipolar, ADHD, autism. It's a lot. So I'm basically trying to do something where I can be a good mom, I can look after my mental health, and I can support more than one person at once. Because I think that's one of the difficult things with being a therapist, is you're pouring all this energy into helping one person for weeks at a time. Whereas this for me is a proper job. I'm also writing a book. So yeah, I'd prefer to do this. I can go back to therapy. I do one-to-one sessions with people for free. I like doing that because it's just one-off, but I'm just trying to think for me and me Ben. Bobby's saying you're so lovely, I'm married you. This sounds like a Borat situation. I'm making my wife, just like shoving us in a bag and taking us off. Do I not get to participate in this? I'm making my wife, eh? Do you know how to tell someone is a therapist? How is this a joke? Is this truth? Let's hear it. Hopefully, because they're like got a bit of self-awareness, I would like to hope. There is some fucking shocking therapists out there though, I'll tell you that for now. Dion is saying clean sober since 2012. Fucking hell, that is some shift. Intentional, positive, goal-orientated thought process will set you free. Is this a type of, are you talking about SMART goals? Or is it a type of, like a mod, I don't know what you call it, like a modality? Is it something that people can research? If it is, go and research intentional, positive, goal-orientated thought process. But what it sounds like, and correct us if I'm wrong, is what I do preach about a lot on the channel, is we talk about, like, you always hear people saying one day at a time, and I always argue the point that one day at a time is right, but can we layer on top of that goals? Like, yes, I'm going to be one day at a time, but I'm also going to be proactive. So, and this applies to mental health, addiction, anything. If we just sit there with no plan, like, we might float on to the place we want to be. So if we're going to be recovery, I'm just going to remove the thing and then just hope that I move myself towards a recovered addict. You might get there, but the majority of people don't. Let's be real, stats are against you. But if you sit there and you start to be proactive in your recovery, proactive in your mental health, you will get there. Anyone who sits there and has a goal and works day in, day out toward that goal, just little steps towards it, will achieve what they want to do. And if we think about goals, think about SMART goals, which are, what are SMART goals? What does it stand for? Can anyone remember what SMART stands for? Small, measurable. Oh, what is it? My mind's, it's escaped us. Essentially, SMART goals are, you need to make the bar low so that you can achieve it. And it needs to be measurable. So you need to be able to reflect on it and say, actually, I'm progressing. So we don't want to set big goals. They need to be little goals, and we need to keep layering on top of each other until we get toward recovery. Let's see what else people are saying. Sometimes you just need 5 minutes at a time. Yeah, you do need 5 minutes at a time, but like I would say be proactive in that, Bobby Light. So like, have 5 minutes, but don't just be like, I'm going to have 5 minutes and sit there like itching. Right, I'm going to have 5 minutes, but what am I going to do in this 5 minutes? So be proactive. I think like being proactive is all about action. it's like we talk about manifestations, and like manifestation, you can think of it like research, like a scientific side or spiritual, whatever. But a lot of people talk about manifesting like, oh, I'm gonna manifest my dream partner. You're not going to get your dream partner if you're not doing the work to get your dream partner. So I want my dream partner, yes. I want to have 5 minutes, but I'm also going to be action orientated. I think people forget about action. So if I want to have a dream partner, I've got to start doing the work on myself. I've got to work on attachment styles. I've got to work on, am I a dream partner? Like, if I'm a shit partner, a dream partner's going to not want to be with us. What do I actually want in a partner? Can I learn boundaries? So we need action. And in that 5 minutes, it might be, right, 5 minutes at a time. This is fucking tough. What action am I going to take so that I can get through this 5 minutes? And that might just be breathing. It might be, something really low key. It might be distraction. It might be addiction, craving surfing. But have a list of things. Writer's block. I'm visualizing having a dream cheeseburger and I have one in my fridge right now. Great. I don't know what to say to that. Oh, hi Silva, how are you doing? Nice to see you again. What's your MBTI personality type? Is that I can't remember. I did this Myers-Briggs test, I can't remember. I did it because like my first counselling degree, the only thing I was qualified, because I had to do 2 counselling degrees because my first one was a pile of shite, basically. Like the qualification itself was shite. But the only thing I was qualified to do was careers and guidance. So I remember doing it, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was an E, some kind of, I don't know. I can't remember. Right, Justin is saying the best thing you can search for is dedication, someone who isn't fickle. Yeah, dedication. And again, work on being dedicated yourself. I used to really struggle with executing things. Like, I'm ADHD. I used to be really fickle myself, and I've had to learn to do that myself. So anything you want in a partner, you have to be making sure you are doing it. So make a list of your dream partner, and then go down that list and rate yourself from 1 to 10 of what you're scoring on each of those qualities and try and work on them. But yeah, dedication is really good. You need somebody who's going to stick it out. Because that is relationships, you have to stick them out. But equally, I'd say you have to know when to walk away as well. You need dedication to self. I think that's the main thing. Silva saying, I love you, Ashley. Thank you, Silva. Human will fails. We all get tired, distracted, emotional. Universal guidance, strength and energy is infinite. Yeah, and just self-love. If we are relying on something external, it's called, so this is a theory called locus of evaluation. It's what a lot of my counselling training was based on. And it's this idea that we have an internal locus of evaluation or external locus of evaluation. And what that means is we can value ourselves internally, get that validation from ourselves, or we can get it externally. And we can get love internally or externally, and seek comfort internally or externally. And if we are outsourcing those 3 things externally, it's never going to be there 100% of the time. A partner can't show up for us 100% of the time. Addiction isn't going to be there for us 100% of the time. Sometimes we're not going to be able to get hold of our dealer. We're going to build up a tolerance to it. It's going to start causing chaos. So we need to work on our internal locus of evaluation and validate ourselves, love ourselves, pour into ourselves, and life becomes a lot easier. And to flip that back, if you do have faith, which I can't remember who it was who just said it, sorry. Somebody just said about universe and spirituality or religion. That again is an infinite source that you can tap into. But if not just yourself, I'd say both. So sub and is a miracle drug. Is that what you use? So is this the Sinclair method, Shin Black? Is this the thing that you have which basically stop you from getting the effects of alcohol? Quite a few people have said this, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. I keep meaning to go research it and forget. Suboxone. Yeah, am I saying it right? Suboxone, I don't know how you say it. I'm dyslexic. But is this the thing, basically, Elijah, where it stops the effects of alcohol? That's what I want to know. Lucas is saying yes. Oh, opiates. Is it for opiates? So I've known I'm sure people who get addicted to that though, don't they? I'm sure I've had somebody I've worked with that just came screaming back to us. What's the one for alcohol? It's the American version of methadone. Right, I get you now. I was thinking somebody has told us they've been addicted to it. So what's the alcohol? Does anyone know the alcohol version? So there's, the Sinclair method. There's a type of medication that you can have that block the impacts of alcohol. Does anyone know what that is? Is that Quatron or Lubrium? Vivitrol. Oh, there's a lot of things here. John is saying drugs are bad, lol. Look, I'm not anti-prescription drugs, but yeah, there is an effect on everything. And look, I know so many people who've just ended up being addicted to methadone, Suboxone, whatever you want to call it, methadone. But the thing is, we've just got to do whatever it takes in recovery, and everyone's recovery is different. So I don't want to sit here and say these prescription drugs are wrong. What I will say is my best friend who successfully came off heroin addiction, like fucking smashed it. I have never seen someone in real life smash it the way that she did it. What she said is, you've got to just get off it as fast as possible. She also said that she knows people who get Suboxone or methadone on the black market. And she said, if you want to do that, she's like, smash it, get off it as fast as possible. Don't spend too long, because she said you'll just get attached and you're giving yourself more space to go back. So she was dropping every 2 weeks. And I've got to say, that wasn't easy, because even watching it was painful. But that's what her advice was, not mine. And she smashed it, and she learned to love herself. Like, she absolutely fucking adores herself, and she's got the best life ever. She practices gratitude, and yeah, that's how she got off it. Methadone gets into your bones. Yeah, Bobby, I know loads of people, like, I don't want to pretend that I'm speaking from experience here. Like, I don't want to insult people who've went through heroin addiction. But a lot of people I know have said that it's been worse or just as bad. I know some people who've went cold turkey off heroin though, and have said it's really painful, but they preferred that to going off methadone. But I know some people who've used methadone successfully, like my best friend, and they've gotten off it. Like, everyone's recovery is unique, and think of recovery like, recovery is you go into battle with it, and you do whatever it fucking takes to win that battle. Do you know what I mean? No prisoners. So every war is going to be different, and you just do whatever it takes for you personally. That's why I think I got a bit defensive when I had someone on the channel before trying to tell us I was wrong and that their method is right. It's like, no, addiction recovery is just like, attack it from all angles, do your research, rally the troops, aka groups, whatever groups work for you, SMART, NA, whatever. Just do whatever it fucking takes, guys. Shy Guy is saying porn addiction is crazy. I tell you what's fucking crazy about it is, where the fuck is the services? Like, honestly, where is the you've got all these services for alcohol and drugs. Where's the fucking porn addiction services? It's fucking mental. It's mental. Yeah, it is. Vitas Block is saying, I like your necklace. They were me mum's. This is a coffee bean, and this is some Italian kind of, I think it's an Italian, what do you call it? Like, my brain's going blank. Basically something that's meant to protect you, some form of protection. And coffee being the only addiction that I'm clinging on to for dear life. Like, ugh, honestly, this is the only addiction that I'm just allowing in my life. Weed, mum, talk about pot. So all addiction is the same. All addiction is the same. So whatever I'm talking about applies to whatever addiction it is. And I really try and, I don't know if you have noticed, but I try my best to not give tips and tricks, spend too much time on tips and tricks on this channel, because realistically, the main thing is work out why the weed addiction or whatever addiction it is. Look at the why. Obviously, look at the what you're going to do. That's tips and tricks. There's fucking millions of them. Like, that's why I'm not wasting my time on it. Go to the services, people who are trained. And then look at the, okay, if you're looking at the why am I using the addiction, because there's always a reason for addiction. Addiction doesn't happen out of a vacuum, and all of the research says this. So look at why addiction in general and how does that apply to you. And then from there, try and heal that. And I guarantee it comes down to loving yourself. Loving yourself is just going to be the thing we need to do. And that doesn't matter whether it's weed, porn, heroin. I would say more so heroin. Yeah, addiction is escapism. So usually we're escaping our past, ourselves, like our own mind. We're escaping our past, ourselves, and our current environment. So work on all those three things. And then with that, like, absolutely go to services and work on the addiction techniques. But look, there's so many different techniques you can use. It ain't going to be working. At least it's not going to be working long term. You can have all the fucking willpower in the world. It will not work long term if you're not working on the past, living inside your own mind and body, and your external environment. Silence is saying, how does ADHD complicate addiction? Oh my God, massively. I've got ADHD. So one of the things, Dr. K talks about this, actually. Look up Dr. K and addiction and ADHD. It's really interesting, and he's a psychiatrist and he really understands it. But to dumb it down, for a little nutshell for this, is the thing with ADHD. The reason why it goes hand in hand with addiction, and if you look at research, you're 50 times more likely to have drug addiction, to put into perspective. And that's just drug addiction, not alcohol addiction, not gambling, porn, fucking, I know someone who's addicted to Volvic water before, who's got ADHD. So you're more susceptible to addiction because, one, your dopamine's fucked. So what gives you dopamine? Excessive dopamine, like cocaine, drink, nicotine, all these things, hyperfocus, like things we're interested in, because dopamine is the neurotransmitter which motivates us towards something that's worthwhile. So if drugs are giving us shit ton of dopamine, then we're more likely to be motivated to get the drugs because it's going to regulate our brains. So we're at a disadvantage dopamine wise. But also, if you look at how the ADHD brain, the thing that we struggle with is impulse control. So even for all the will in the world, if we struggle to control our impulses, then we're more likely to relapse. So people with ADHD, not only are we like getting driven towards the drugs by the dopamine, we're also got pretty shoddy impulse control. So it's a recipe for addiction recovery and addiction relapse. Now, what can we do about it? Well, first of all, we can try and get dopamine, like do the reverse. So if we understand the neuroscience, we can flip the script. So do the reverse. Try and get healthy doses of dopamine from other things. So we want to be doing things like cold showers if you can, or ice baths. They give you a good amount of dopamine. Physical sport. I mean, what I do for mine is I dance for 5 minutes regularly. at least 5 minutes at multiple points through the day. I've just bought myself a little jiu-jitsu man called Reggie Miraji. So I can do practice jiu-jitsu with it in the house. So things where you can get regular doses of dopamine. The second thing is learn to strengthen your anterior prefrontal cortex, which is a part of your brain responsible for impulse control. And that looks like mindfulness. That looks like metacognition, so observing your thoughts. It's essentially mindfulness. And go and look into things. How do I strengthen my anterior prefrontal cortex? Finally, I would say regulate your nervous system. So with ADHD, your brain is developing in a constant state of fight or flight, which means essentially you are in fight or flight all the time. So what I would suggest to do is work on calming your nervous system. Practice getting yourself out of fight or flight, and do this multiple times a day. Yeah, so that's what I would say about ADHD and addiction. I don't know if that was a lot of information for you, so sorry if I blasted your brains, but it's a really complex interplay, I would say, but it's a very real thing. Universe is saying, where are you from exactly in the UK? I like your accent. Reply please. I'm from Newcastle upon Tyne, northeast of England, and proud. Big up the Northerners. Right, reality is time and space as it exists in your mind. Change your mind and you will change your life. Yeah, we are literally a bunch of neuroplasticity. Like everything, every behavior, every thought, every feeling we have is just neuroplasticity, and it's just firing and wiring. So if we can change our brain, create new neural pathways in our brain, our lives will change, because we will be thinking, feeling, behaving, believing different. And if you change all of that, your life will be unrecognizable. And if you do it intentionally, it'll be unrecognizable in the best of ways. Right, I'm going to end on one comment because I'm starting to get knackered. And hi Deathhawk, how you doing? I don't know how long I don't know if any of me mods are on. I have only seen Deathhawk, so hello to the mods if you've been here, but I've had thousands of comments. So Nathan is saying, what are some good replacement activities for addictions? I would say the main one is learning to love yourself. So self-help. That's something that you can do all the time. You can just lean into that. But I would say anything that you put your body under stress and then you have to manage that stress will help you with addiction recovery. So this is where sport can be really helpful, learning a new skill. So something where you're stressed, where you're a bit healthy stressed, because what happens is, so say for instance, jiu-jitsu, that's what I do. I talk about it all the time, it's just what I do. But you can apply this to anything. But jiu-jitsu, I'm getting put under stress. Someone's trying to choke us out. You have to learn to calm yourself down, to then think about, right, what am I going to do? Now, let's apply that. So that's nervous system regulation to involve your rational part of your brain to counteract the threat at hand. Now, let's apply that to addiction recovery. Trigger. That's the choke. I'm in a choke. There's a trigger. I have to calm my nervous system down. So the cravings hit, that's fight or flight, calm the craving down so that I can think, switch on my rational part of the brain so that I can decide what I'm going to do differently. And by learning to do that, you'll be able to apply that nervous system action, like reaction to a craving, because it's exactly the same thing going on in your body. If you don't learn how to calm your body down in your nervous system, so you don't do things like that, then what happens is your limbic system goes off, alarm. So your alarm bells are going off saying, like, there's a craving, and you're just giving in to impulse. So I would say the best thing to do is put your body under stress, learn to calm it down. Now, cold showers is a really, really simple way to do this, because you get the shock of it. You're like, you breathe, regulate your nervous system, and you withstand it. instant learning how to regulate your nervous system, and that will be applicable to cravings. So yeah, that would be my top thing. 40, I'm trying to come off methadone right now. If you want to do a one-to-one, I can put you in touch with me best friend. She's happy to help anyone in getting off that. Honestly, she was amazing. Jared is saying, how does combat PTSD affect addiction? That's a really good question. So I used to be head of veteran counselling, and we had to introduce an addiction part to the veteran charity because the two go hand in hand. And I've done a bit, I've learned a lot about this because my original PhD was on veterans and addiction. The only thing I will say, Jared, is I'm ending the live because I'm knackered, so I don't want to sit here explaining this in a bit of a ropey way because my brain's not working, but I'll give it a nutshell. But if you're wanting to go hash this out properly, Jared, just go to my website, schoolofaddiction.co.uk. But the thing with PTSD is we're talking about, so it's not just veterans, although veterans are more likely to have PTSD, obviously. It's also sexual abuse victims and child abuse. These are all subgroups of people who are massively more likely to have addiction. And the reason why is because I was talking about your nervous system there. Your nervous system is severely dysregulated. If you're in a constant state of hypervigilance, so if you've experienced repeated childhood trauma or something like PTSD from like sexual abuse or anything really, but like being a veteran, your body is going to be in a constant state of fight or flight. And not in a way that like anxiety doesn't even touch the surface. It's extreme. So yeah, it's absolutely going to help. But then also you've got things like, so if I had PTSD from sexual abuse, and one of the things that I would do is disassociate. Now, what does addiction allow you to do? It allows you to disassociate because it actually becomes quite painful to be living in your own body, in your own mind, and remembering things. So yeah, there's a huge link between it. So you really do have to deal with PTSD to deal with the addiction, and think like addiction is actually like if I was a veteran, the first thing I would do is I would be grateful for the addiction, because what you don't want to do is shame yourself for having an addiction. So I would say, right, as it stands, I'm a veteran. It's understandable that I've got an addiction. Understandable. And all the research says why and says it's likely, like more likely. So it's understandable I've got the addiction. I'm not going to shame myself for it. I'm going to be grateful that I've got something helping us, because that's what it's doing. The addiction is supporting my PTSD now. It's self-medicating. It's a crutch. The same way as if you had an injury on your leg in the army, you would use a crutch. I'm using a mental crutch. Then what I would say to myself is, okay, I'm not going to shame myself, but let's be real. It's not the most helpful solution in my life because it's causing a whole other host of problems. So now what I need to do is I need to strategize on how am I going to get a better solution than what that crutch is. And I'm going to do everything in my power to do that. And I cannot do that if I'm shaming myself. So yeah, that's what I would say with veterans. But look, we can talk about it in more detail. Guy helping keep the chat on track. Hi Guy, I didn't even know you were there. It's so many comments. I am gonna go though. AKG is saying, AKG spot. I didn't say the G spot. I have PTSD. So I had PTSD. I'm fully managing it now. I have an amazing practitioner that I used to this evening, look into it. And she's private, so I'm not here to advertise that. I don't have any vested interest in her. I've got no vested interest in anyone, but she was amazing, and if you want I can put you in touch with her, but she does charge, but she's amazing, so that might be helpful for you. But yeah, PTSD is a fucking kicker, AKG spot. It really is, and there's a reason why addiction and in PTSD link is so high. There is. And I do think that was a big contribution a huge contribution. In fact, I think it was the biggest driving force. That and undiagnosed mental health disorders for why I was addicted. Definitely. Right, 40, how much does it cost? I think she charges 65 quid, but it's not like normal therapy. So what I did with that is I had one session on, because I've got a lot of trauma. That's the thing. So you have one session. So look into the neuroscience behind havening. What it does is it disconnects the amygdala and certain... I can't remember. My brain's gone blank. But it does something in your brain. It's really competing with what's the EMDR at the moment. It's an emergent therapy. But basically desensitizes you, a bit like EMDR, Haven desensitizes you somatically. Because the thing with PTSD, if you read the book The Body Keeps the Score by Basil von der Kolk, the thing with PTSD is your body like goes in a fight or flight before your brain. So if you think of it like your body's got an alarm bell, this is where adrenaline, it makes you produce adrenaline, and your brain's got an alarm bell, and that's noradrenaline. And these two alarm bells trigger each other off, so it's like a circuit. So if your body remembers something, it goes, whoa, we're in danger, and that sets off your brain. And then your brain sets off your body. It's like constantly going off. And a lot of the time in therapy, we're working on the brain. We're not working on the body. Now, what EMDR and Havening does is it works on your body. So you don't need as many sessions as what you need for your brain. So when I'm going back to cost, if you go to therapy, you might be spending 50 to 70 quid an hour for a therapy, or more for some. But say 50 to 70 quid an hour for a therapy, but you might need 6 to 12 to 18 sessions. Veterans, I used to give out 18. Was it 18 sessions? 12 or 18? A lot of sessions. Whereas for this, you might only need 1 or 2 or 3 maximum. I had 3, and it was working on 3 different specific traumas. And I think she charges 65 quid, or she did when I used her. Right, anyways, I'm just gonna, so you're gonna just go and ignore my message. I'm really sorry. So I've probably had at least 1,000 comments today. So if I've missed anyone's comments and you want us to reply to them, go to my website, schoolofaddiction.co.uk, and I will reply to you. I'm sorry for anyone who feels like I'm ignoring them. I just have, like I say, about 1,000 plus comments. I kind of get through them, so I'm not being rude. You all do matter. If you need us to pick it up, please go to my website. If anyone could give us a subscribe as well, that would be really helpful to my channel and help us get to the right people. But I'm gonna go. I'll be back at Monday at 10 a.m. If you want to know what days I go live, just go on my YouTube channel. I'll let you know on there, and on my website. And I'll speak to you soon. Cyrus, stop throwing eggs at cats. I've never heard that saying before. What does that mean? My grandpa had this poem that he wrote, just reminded us of, and it was pussy, get out of me garden, get over the fence at once. If you don't get out of me garden, I'll bounce this brick off your bonds. Just popped into my head. Anyways, Scrozzy says stop talking to my girlfriend. I'm saying there's a lot of fucking ball rats on this channel. No way. Like, I don't even know I'm in a relationship with yous. But anyways, I'm like one of those fucking, what do you call it? I don't know what you call it, like a tribal man with like all my bitches. All these girlfriends I don't even know I've got. Or boyfriends, should I say. or my boyfriend bitches. Right, anyways, I'm gonna go. I'll see you later. Bye. Bye, Death Hawk. Bye, Guy. Oh, thank you for emailing us, but I can't remember what I asked you now. Oh, I've replied to your email. Get a thing booked in. I can speak to you today if you want, Guy. I've got some time today. It was on about an idea you had. If you want us to talk to you today, just send us an email now, because I've got a few hours, which I don't have on me Calendly on a Friday, but I'm happy to talk to you. Anyways, bye.